Hey folks, let's pick back up over in Genesis. We're talking about Adam and Eve and what happened and the trick or the challenge of Adam and Eve's identity. And I think I've mentioned this already, but let me tell you something. If Jesus's identity was challenged all the time, it was challenged by Satan himself. It was challenged by the religious crowd. It was challenged by family. He was challenged by the inmates or the prisoners. He was challenged by the guards. Jesus and family and friends. Jesus was challenged in every area of his life. If Jesus' identity was challenged, who do you say that you are? That type of thing. If his identity was challenged, why do you think that yours and mine wouldn't be challenged? You know the difference, whenever they challenged Adam and Eve's identity, they fell for it. When they fell for it, they had to take second best, or if you allow me to, I believe it wasn't even near second best. They ended up knowing not only good, but evil. Man, I wish I didn't know evil. Thank you, Adam and Eve. I would have done worse, I'm sure, as you would have. But see, I'm convinced that we didn't have to know evil at all. But it was believing that if we ate of that fruit, that Adam and Eve ate of that tree of the knowledge of good and evil, we'll be more like God. Listen, you already are like God. Just as Adam and Eve, that God breathed into Adam, whenever you were recreated, whenever you accepted Jesus as your Lord and Savior, you were recreated in the image and likeness of God, the same thing that Adam was. You and I, we have to deal with pressure. But in order for us to deal with pressure on the outside, we have to know something on the inside. We have to know that we don't have to bow our knee. Do you want to be like God? We already are. Does that make sense? And see, we're talking about identity. We're talking about your identity. We're talking about the way that the enemy controls your life, where he's going to see what happens. If he can get you to fall for the challenge of your identity, he will begin to control your whole life. You don't want that. You want blessings. You don't want curses in your life. You want blessings. Let's go over back over here to verse number 10 of chapter 3 of Genesis. He said, and he said, I heard thy voice in the garden. This is talking about Adam. And I was afraid because I was naked and I hid myself. They were afraid. Why were they afraid? Because they had disobeyed God. They were afraid, and they were ashamed and afraid, and they were afraid that God would reject them for what they had done. Are you getting a picture here? They were ashamed, and they were afraid, and they hid themselves. And the next thing that happened, whenever God said, Adam, why did you do this? And he said, she made me do it. He asked Eve, he said, why did you do this? And he said, the devil made me do it. Flip Wilson, do you remember that? The devil made me do it. The devil shouldn't make you do anything. Listen to me. Shame is the vehicle that causes you to run and hide. Fear is the fuel of the vehicle of shame. The fear of being found out and the shame for doing what you did. I'm talking to people right now that's running from themselves. You know what I found out over the years? You can run from shame, but you can't hide. Wherever you go, there you are. The reason that we hide is because we don't want anybody to find out who we really are. And I understand there's things that I don't want people to find out everything about me. I don't want that. I don't want to know everything about you. What bothers me sometimes is whenever people, they begin to want to counsel you and want to find all the stuff that's in your life. I don't want to find your stuff. Leave it alone. It's covered. Jesus covered it. Why do you want to bring it back up? Why do I want to bring it back up? Let's go back up here to the fig leaves for a moment. They hid themselves behind fig leaves. Did you know that you and I still hide behind fig leaves from time to time? Our fig leaves consist of something a little bit different than the tree in the garden. Our fig leaves consist of drugs, alcohol, needing self-approval, sex, lying, pornography, cussing. I mean, there's a blank there. You fill in the space. You fill in the blank. See, what we want to do whenever we're not comfortable with who we are, when we're trying to be something that we're not, and we have to go hide behind a fig leaf in order to fool people. And all the time we're talking to them and hiding behind a fig leaf, we're hoping, please don't ever find out who I really am. We hide from God. How's that working for you? Doesn't work very well, does it? What we have is that a fig leaf becomes our quick fix. A quick fix that we use to try to stop the pain of shame, to try to stop the pain of fear. You know, people that are real boisterous, and I mean, they have a loud voice and they think they're the best thing going. You know what I found out over the years? There's more behind that than they're the best thing. They're hiding. It's the quiet person that knows. The psalmist said this. It says to be still and know that I am God. There's something about somebody that knows. You know what that is? They know God. They don't have to be loud and boisterous. They know. It's the person that doesn't say anything that you need to pay attention to, because they know. When the person that says something all the time, you don't have to wonder, you know. It's the quiet that I'm interested in. We hide behind a needle, hide behind sex, we hide behind pornography, we hide behind lying. Whatever the case may be, we hide behind those to hide the pain. When that fix wears off, the shame is increased. Does that make sense? When the fix wears off, the shame is increased. Sometimes we put a Band-Aid on something that we need to have surgery for. It never works. The Band-Aid falls off. We have to go find another Band-Aid. The devil offers you a quick fix for your shame, for your pain, and then he slams you whenever you do it. Isn't that interesting? He offers you a quick fix for your shame, and then he slams you whenever you do it. The devil is, he's so screwed up. We listen to him? I don't think so. I want to share this with you. You know, when Jesus said, I think it's in John the 19th chapter, when Jesus was on the cross and he said, it is finished, what was he talking about? Several things, I think. The law was finished. He fulfilled the law. Basically, he said something like this. The law required you to do this. You can't do it. I can't do it. So God sent Jesus to go do that you and I couldn't do. And he did it. Every jot, every tittle. He dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. Everything's finished. And on the cross, he said, it's finished. Not only did he say it's finished, he said, what I have done is done for. It's paid for. I have done it all. But you know what happened whenever Jesus died on the cross and he went to hell for 3 days for yours and my place? He took all of your sin and sickness with him to hell. He took all of your poverty and lack with him to hell. He took all of your confusion with him to hell. He took all of your doubt with him to hell. He took all of your offenses with him to hell. He took every bit of your marriage problems, things that would create marriage problems, he took that with him and buried it in hell. When God the Father raised him up, guess what? He left all of that stuff there. It's not here. But there's something else that's really fascinating. When Jesus was nailed to the cross, do you know what else was nailed to the cross besides your sickness, your poverty, your lack, your confusion, your offenses, your marriage problems? Do you know what else was nailed to that cross? The tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That tree was nailed to the cross, the tree of performance to become something that you already are. That's the tree that was nailed to the cross. And when Jesus died, he took all of that with him. And whenever God raised him from the dead, all of that stuff stayed in hell. When he was raised from the dead, basically, he said, okay, now there's not a tree of the knowledge of good and evil. You don't have to go to the tree of the knowledge of good and evil to get your approval and your acceptance. Now you can get your approval and acceptance from the tree of life. We don't have to go back to our performance to be accepted. We have been accepted in the beloved. We don't have to lie to get people to like us. We don't have to cheat to get people. We don't have to do drugs to hide. We can be open. We can be who we are. Oh, some people shouldn't be who they are. You know what? All of us. There's times that we shouldn't be that way. But you know, one of the most freeing things that I've ever experienced is freedom to be who I am. I had a lady in my church one time tell me, she said, Pastor Vic, she said, you're the most unspiritual pastor I've ever had in my life. I didn't know whether to think, what does that mean? But what she was saying was, I don't see, you're just who you are. You say things that just the most preachers wouldn't say. Yeah, sometimes that's good and bad, but that's true. I was having dinner with a friend of mine recently, and something was said, and I said, I really don't care. It's that situation doesn't. I just nothing about that even interests me. And he had this little smile on his face. We were sitting at dinner, and he said, you really don't care about a whole bunch of stuff, do you? And I said, no, I really don't. I really don't. You know what I do care about? I care about you. I care about you sitting there listening to me. And listen, I honestly believe that everything I'm sharing with you is gospel. You're not designed to be controlled by the enemy. You're designed to be controlled by your heart. And as you hide your word in your heart will lead and guide you. The Holy Spirit will prosper you. He'll heal you. He'll set you free. He'll give you revelation knowledge of the Word, and you can walk in the fullness of it. That's what I care about. That's why I do what I do. That's why I go to prisons all the time. That's why I'm going to churches to tell people. It's not your performance. It's Jesus' performance. Let's look at some talking points. Fig leaves. What's your fig leaf? Or do you have more than one? Are you still trying to hide? Why are you trying to hide? What happens whenever your fix wears off? Shame. Is shame something that you're having to deal with? Oh, what if happened? What if they find out what I've done in the past? What if they do? I'm not suggesting that you go out and broadcast it or tell people. Because listen, if the world doesn't go and tell what you did, the church will. You've been set free. Be who you are. God bless.